For decades, South America has faced a major logistical dilemma, crippling shipping costs and long transit times that make its exports less competitive on the global market. The region's vast natural resources, from copper to lithium, are in high demand, but transporting these goods has been a huge challenge. Traditional shipping routes, especially through the Panama Canal, added a significant amount of time and cost, limiting South America's potential to fully access the booming markets of Asia, particularly China. But now, the game is changing, thanks to China's bold move in Peru. China's ambitious plan. What's at stake? At first glance, the Chancay megaport may seem like a godsend for Peru. It's poised to slash shipping times between Peru's west coast and Shanghai from 35 days to just 23 days, potentially saving billions in shipping costs. The port's location in Chancay, a small fishing town just 60 kilometers north of Lima, gives it a natural deep water harbor, an ideal feature for massive container ships. Costco Shipping, a Chinese state-owned company, has invested heavily in this project, and it's already racing to finish the first phase of this colossal infrastructure venture. But behind the shiny promises of quicker shipping and reduced costs lies a broader geopolitical game that could shift the balance of power in the region. This is not just a simple port, it's a key piece in China's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, a global infrastructure strategy aimed at expanding China's influence worldwide. What makes Chancay so special? When it comes to ports, location is everything, and Chancay's positioning could not be more ideal. Sitting on Peru's central coast, it has direct access to the Pacific Ocean, with deep waters that are close to shore. This allows for year-round efficient operations, with minimal tidal variation and protected harbors. The physical infrastructure is impressive, to say the least. A 200-meter-long breakwater protects the harbor from ocean currents, while the dredging of the channel allows for ships as large as 18,000 TEU vessels, equivalent to about 9,000 semi-trucks worth of cargo, to dock and unload. The port spans an area of 992 hectares, roughly 1,400 football fields, and includes 15 specialized berths designed for the world's largest container ships. Phase 1 of construction includes 4 berths for container ships and multi-purpose vessels. However, Phase 2 will expand the facility to include 11 more berths, transforming Chancay into a world-class maritime complex that could rival China's own ports. A stunning 1.8-kilometer tunnel is being bored through coastal mountains, connecting the port to a massive logistics complex inland, ensuring smooth and uninterrupted traffic flow. The economic impact on Peru. So who benefits from this massive infrastructure investment? For Peru, the benefits seem obvious: reduced shipping costs, enhanced competitiveness in global trade, and a direct access point to the lucrative Asian markets. Once completed, the port is expected to generate $4.5 billion in economic benefits annually, around 1.8% of Peru's GDP. The Peruvian government estimates the project will create around 8,000 new jobs, from construction to port operations. That's a lot of new employment opportunities, right? However, there are some wrinkles to this rosy picture. While some jobs are being created, critics argue that many of these specialized roles are being filled by Chinese workers, not locals. Furthermore, as construction ramps up, Peru faces a significant increase in land prices, with some areas seeing a 300% increase in property value. This has led to a rise in property speculation, with local residents being priced out of their own communities. From a logistics perspective, though, Chancay's impact is undeniable. By cutting shipping times by up to 2 weeks and reducing logistics costs by as much as 15%, Peru will be able to compete more effectively in the global market. This could be a game changer for South America's exports, particularly in sectors like agriculture, mining, and manufacturing. China's strategic interests. But let's not kid ourselves, China is not investing $3.6 billion in Peru just to improve its infrastructure. China's Belt and Road Initiative is all about securing access to valuable resources and expanding its global influence, and the Chancay megaport fits neatly into this broader strategy. The port gives China an enhanced route for accessing key resources in South America, such as copper from Chile, lithium from Bolivia, and soybeans from Brazil, all flowing more efficiently to Chinese factories. Furthermore, the port opens up a direct pipeline for Chinese exports, ranging from electronics to fast fashion, into a market of over 430 million South American consumers. This makes it much easier for Chinese companies such as Shine to flood South American markets with their products at faster and cheaper rates. However, the most valuable asset China gains from the port is geopolitical, a direct foothold in what has traditionally been considered the United States' backyard. The port strengthens China's presence in Latin America, a region where the US has long held significant influence. This is not just about trade, it's about power and control. And with Latin American countries like Bolivia and Brazil increasingly routing their exports through Peru, we may be witnessing a seismic shift in global trade patterns. The geopolitical ramifications, a US response. Of course, the United States is not thrilled about this development. Historically, the US has been the dominant player in Latin America, both economically and politically. But with China's increasing presence in the region, Washington has been forced to reevaluate its strategy. The Pentagon's 2024 strategic assessment has already flagged the Chancay port as a potential dual-use facility, meaning it could support Chinese naval operations in the Western Hemisphere. This, of course, raises serious concerns for US national security. In response, the US has been scrambling to counter China's infrastructure diplomacy with offers of alternative investments. But as some have pointed out, the US is late to the game. China has already invested billions in Latin American infrastructure, and Washington's response has largely been limited to speeches and vague promises. For Peru, this puts the country in a delicate position. Peru's economy is deeply tied to China, with the country exporting 3 times more to China than to the US. In fact, Chinese investment in Peruvian mining alone topped $10 billion last year. This makes it incredibly difficult for Peru to remain neutral in the face of growing US-China tensions. As one Peruvian politician put it, we are trading our independence for Chinese yuan. The environmental and social costs. While the geopolitical tensions between China and the US make for riveting headlines, the environmental and social costs of the Chancay mega port are perhaps even more pressing. The construction site is located near the Santa Rosa wetlands, a fragile ecosystem that is home to 76 bird species, including some that are endangered. Environmental groups have raised alarms about the potential impact of the port on this delicate habitat, with concerns over pollution, noise, and changes to water flow patterns. On the social front, the land rush triggered by the port's construction has led to skyrocketing property prices, displacing many longtime residents who can no longer afford to live in their own communities. Critics argue that while the Peruvian government and Costco Shipping promise local development projects and environmental safeguards, the reality on the ground is far more complicated. With 27 separate lawsuits pending, it's clear that not everyone is thrilled with the port's development. A new chapter in Latin American trade, or a modern form of economic colonialism. The Chancay mega port is more than just a shiny new infrastructure project. It's a strategic move by China to expand its influence in Latin America, and it has the potential to reshape the region's geopolitical and economic landscape for decades to come. Whether this is a win-win partnership for Peru or a modern form of economic colonialism is still up for debate. As the world watches, the question remains, will this mega port benefit Peru in the long run, or will it leave the country caught in the middle of a high-stakes geopolitical game between 2 superpowers? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, the economic and political ripple effects of the Chancay megaport are already being felt across South America, and they could change the course of global trade forever. And that's a wrap for today's video. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the biggest infrastructure projects of the decade, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content on global trade, geopolitics, and everything in between. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.